Welcome to another episode of the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast. We're glad it's Friday again. We got on Austin, your favorite person. So welcome back to the podcast, Austin. Just the usual. Today we're gonna hit on what it means to be a better wife, or what it takes to be a better wife in marriage.
We decided we didn't want hate mail because we already did last week's podcast episode on being a better husband.
That's right.
We have to cover both sides or we get attacked.
Yeah, immediately after the podcast, we get emails. What about the wife? What about
We'll take care of it.
we got it coming?
We got it. We're coming.
We
That's good.
understand that marriage takes two. We understand that. So, anyways, we're going to jump into that. How to be a better wife today. We're not just saying you're doing all these things wrong, step it up. We're just trying to give you some tips. Like, you want a better marriage, you got to be a better wife, you got to be a better husband. It goes both ways. So, to dive in, Austin, we have already done not plenty, because there's never enough, but several episodes on emotional intimacy. Today oh, sorry, I'm getting off on the wrong podcast episode. Was starting to think we were doing emotional intimacy. Being a better wife. Okay, diving into emotional intimacy. Husbands need the emotional intimacy too. And I think we missed that as wives. So hopefully we jump into that and talk about their needs are emotional too. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I had to change course for a minute there. I started getting our next.
Oh, you were talking about another episode.
Just talking when we started this podcast episode, how it's like last week of school for us. We have a senior. We have something every single night. Our minds are a disaster. And Nick's like, we have to go to one more thing. And I'm like, we get to.
Yeah, I don't even know what day it is, honestly. Like, what month are we in? Sorry, Amy's and my heads are just spinning. So that's why we got Austin on.
I'm so zen right now.
Yeah. So
I was thinking, I was first thinking we were going to be talking about female pleasure today, but that's the next one. So stay tuned, husbands, because you're going to really love that one.
We're drawing back the curtain, letting them know what the next one be.
Because they're going to be excited. That's like one of our most downloaded topics is female pleasure. Yeah. Because husbands want to know how to do it. And the wives are also like, yeah, help me out in the area too. So next time, talking about that.
Okay. It's I'll share this real quickly. I was just at Mother's Day with one of my siblings, and my sister's also a therapist, and she also has specialized in sexuality among couples and on these different things. And it was funny because we were at this restaurant, and we're so just open with like we're talking about our work, right? And I'm like, oh, there's people here that are probably like, what? And my dad was in between us, and he's like, how did I have two of my children that are sex therapists? And it's like, well, we like pleasure, so we want to know how to do it better.
Right.
It's kind of funny. So,
there's two of you for real?
Yeah. So I was already licensed and a therapist, and then she actually, it's cool. She decided to she needed to get her bachelor's. She had done no college, and she went and got her bachelor's, her master's, and then her doctorate, like all in a row. And her doctorate is specifically in sexuality, which is kind of a rare specialty. And so it's cool because we've been able to talk throughout that whole long journey, and it's cool. So
cool.
Going back to the better wife, aspect of this, and it's funny because I was actually thinking about this yesterday when I was driving home. It's like, who am I to say what a good wife is? And what's interesting is in my practice, I've talked about this a lot with couples where I said, if you want to be a good wife, if that's your value, the best person to help you know how to be a good wife is your husband, right?
Exactly.
Same thing. If I want to be a really good husband, I might have come into marriage with my ideas of this is a good husband. If my wife doesn't care about those things, then it's not me being a good husband. I need to adapt to her. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, as you were saying that, like, what better person than to go to than a therapist that's all he's dealing with is people say, my husband this or my wife this. I mean, in Amy's and my polls, we have the great opportunity to poll thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
Sometimes we'll get comments, well, what makes you qualified to talk about this? Well, we have access to a ton of people, a big audience, and we let them kind of speak to these different things that we're talking about. And so, like I said, you being a therapist, there's probably no better person to hear from regarding the issues that you deal with on almost a daily basis as to what a wife is needing from her husband and things like that. So,
Yeah.
But going to your own spouse too, right?
yeah,
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea. It's funny because right, we did the episode with men and men can be like, "Hey, that's cool for me. What about her?" Right? The mindset for both, and this is the place that I think is the first step for either party to go, how do I become a better spouse? Is you have to want a really good marriage, right? You have to want what we talk about, ultimate intimacy,
yeah,
not just on a sexual level, but across the board, right? And so if you go, hey, I want ultimate intimacy, I want an amazing marriage, I got to level up in my role as spouse, husband, wife, then I'm looking at me and what the next I would say step is curiosity. Okay, for wives going, what is my husband telling me that I'm missing? Okay, and I've done a couple of these kind of 2 day renewals that I do kind of back to back, and it's interesting because one of the guys that I was with, he's like, I honestly I'm feel like I'm pretty simple, right? And I said, I think you are, right?
Mhm.
And ladies, it's not just about sex. I know that that gets the emphasis, but it's really not. Men, we there's a lot of simplification in what helps us feel connected, and truly, it is your femininity. It's not your body. It's not your sexuality. It's when you can be feminine. And a lot of women, right? Like, what does that mean? And I don't want to get too much into like the energy concept that maybe we've touched on in past episodes. I think the place I'd like to emphasize is this idea of nurturing, meaning thoughtfulness, not mother child. That's not attractive, right?
yeah.
That's why we start with the men often. Men, we need you to be men. We need you to be, able to regulate your emotions. We need you to be able to handle your, sexuality. But when you're able to show up as a man in masculinity, a wife is giving femininity not to heal the little boy, it's she loves you and it becomes the benefit. Okay. And so for the wives, how do I be, thoughtful? How do I be the language I'll use is engaged in his well-being. It's right. We talked about with the men. It's a proactive approach.
Mhm.
Amy, I think you do a really good job of this. You're thinking ahead. How do I show Nick love? I think part of the reason you're able to do that is, Nick, you're also doing the same, right? You
Yeah.
have these shared practices where it reduces a lot of worry about your own needs because the other person's already thinking of not just needs but wants. And in my mind, that's love. So if I, wanted to be a better wife, I think part of the kind of daily practice would be, okay, my value is I want to be a good wife. I want to be loving. What does my spouse want, not just need? And then how do I, do my internal work, or balance my schedule or my emotions or whatever to be proactive? And when that happens, men typically are like, oh, okay, like she's coming forward. I'm not chasing her. I'm not getting rejected all the time. Men get rejected a lot in life, okay, not just in marriage. In the business context, it's a cutthroat world for men, a lot of competition. And so when you're spending all this energy, working or trying to provide and trying to be the, baseball coach or the hockey coach or football, whatever, like, and then with your marriage, it's not more hard work constantly. It's a place where a man can come and go, she sees me and she already knows kind of what I need.
Mhm.
It eases a man and it takes the edges off pretty pretty quickly of most men.
I really
Thoughts
like
on
what
that?
I
Yeah.
really liked what you just shared. It's so true. I mean, men are out there battling so many different battles, whether it's work or, even just the going out in the sports and coaching and just everything. And what a man wants to do is come home and instead of being rejected, be accepted by his wife, right? Like come home and feel like, there's that connection versus just more rejection emotionally, physically, things like that. So I love that you
Right.
showed that.
Yeah, for the wives, it's like if you look out and you see the men who aren't engaging in marriage and family life, their default is oftentimes not super attractive, right? It's like men are like I said, they're pretty simplistic. So they're, playing video games, they're drinking, they're doing all this stuff where when there's a married context, yeah, there might be some of that to, take the edge off, escape, whatever, but a man's day to day is typically full to the brim, right? I
Mhm.
wake up, if I have a little time for me to get healthy, fantastic. Then I go to work, and a lot of men, they'll use this language of like, I feel like I'm fighting dragons all day, like problem, problem, problem. And then if I come home and I'm trying to engage with the kids, and then the very end of the night is when I finally get, some time with my wife. And if she's, passed out tired or she's stressed out, like it's like men will often go days and days with like not being seen, not being nurtured, and they keep giving all their energy. And this is where you see burnout with men, where they just like they collapse into all sorts of unhealthy things. It's not a wife's fault.
Yeah.
A wife can be very helpful to buffer that. And so I remember seeing this thing this past week. It was like a short on YouTube, and it was this guy, and you could tell like their whole thing was he would come home at the end of a hard day's work. It was labor, and he's probably in his 60s, and you could tell like he washed his hands, but he had like, his clothes were dirty, and his wife, like their shorts were like she was bringing different meals to him, and his face like lit up. And it wasn't the food, it was the
The love.
thoughtfulness, it was the care, right? And so they had just these little interactions, and you could tell they'd spent a life of thoughtfulness. She was aware that he was doing a lot to provide, right, for her to be at home and to have time with kids and different things. And you could tell that he knew she was being thoughtful of anticipating him coming home, and her not, beating him over the head when he'd already had a full struggle day, right? And so for wives, I think this thoughtfulness, women are very good at this. Like you nurture children, you're aware of so much more than men often can hold. It's not that we're not aware, it's a lot of our work has to be very compartmentalized. We
Mhm.
can't bring a ton of emotions into our day to day. We feel them, but we're like, I can't go cry in my bathroom at work because my boss was a jerk. I just got to do the thing, right? So men compartmentalize a lot, and when we get home, it ideally is the sanctuary. It's like I'm stepping out of the battle of, and I'm stepping into my home, and I have love here. I have nurturing here. For a lot of men, and again, I know women work, and I know that women are, even if they're not working a career, right? Like being a mom, being like that's all work. I'm not diminishing that at all. I think when a man can step into his home and feel just a smile, like just the, hey, how are you? Not, I'm on, that when I talk to men, that changes a lot. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I was the priority those first, 30 seconds. And that little dose of feminine love, which women, it's very powerful for us. Like we just need a little dose.
Oh yeah.
It can sustain us through, helping with dinner and getting the kids, stuff done and getting them to bed. And then if you have a little bit of energy left for us, and it doesn't have to be sexual, like that we want to connect with you. And it's not just you're giving to us, it's like we want to give to you too. I'm curious your thoughts on that, Amy, as I talk about that.
Um, I was just thinking for a minute. I'm like, I know a lot of my followers are already on social media, so they've already heard this, but I posted a clip, a reel, probably a few months ago, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, I don't even remember when. And it hit home to a lot of men. And it's exactly what you were saying, exactly what you're talking about. I said, no husband wants to work 8 to 12 hours and then sit in his driveway because home feels heavier than his work. And my caption was just talking about, I mean, I've got 4,500 comments on that one post. 4,500 had almost 10 million views between platforms, okay? This registered, it went viral for months. and so much 4,500 comments. That's just on Instagram. Like
Mhm.
devastating comments. I don't even want to get into them, but like husbands expressing like and in the clip it was Nick sitting in the car and I walked out and I opened the door and I gave him a hug. It was just that simple.
You should see
And
my acting skills. That's amazing.
so many husbands have wrote in and been like, I would do anything to get
Right.
that 30 seconds that you're talking about. Hug, appreciation. Thanks for working so hard. I love you. I missed you today. Just anything. And husbands are like, I'm used for my paycheck. I get no appreciation when I get home. She's scrolling her phone. Like that feminine love and effort that takes 30 to 60 seconds is not that hard to get. And it's like life changing for so many husbands. So I
It
love that
really,
you shared that because I'm like, we just experienced through that one video the pain that so many husbands are feeling just in that one aspect.
right.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's emotional to them. They weren't saying, oh, she won't
They
initiate with me or
become
she doesn't want sex. It was all like, I just want to feel loved too. I'm
Right.
a man. Like we have so many of the similar needs, right?
what's amazing too in our marriage as well is like the times where I'm just like I got nothing left in the tank. I'm just stressed. I'm like exhausted with things. Amy and I will connect, we'll make love, and like the next day, it's like my battery's fully charged. Like I'm ready to go again. Like it is really amazing how that works, is just like just a connection with your wife and feeling desired, like all of a sudden it just recharges your battery to 100, you're ready to go again. Like, all right, bring it on.
At
And
least my
another,
wife loves me, right?
yeah,
At least my wife.
Yeah. Right. That's the power of for men, the power of femininity. Like it is like rejuvenating, like nothing else. And
yeah.
again, like sexuality, yes, of course, but that love, that sweetness, that ability that so many women have to be thoughtful, to be proactive, to be caring, to be aware, right? So much of that gets put into the children, which is great. We don't want it as another child of yours, which a lot of women will say, feels like another child. Don't give it from a, one down. He's not your one down, right? You're equals, ideally. And seeing he spends, a lot of energy, not just in work. Like I see couples all the time that they're both working full-time jobs. Being aware, like we're both putting constant energy into this unit called a family or a marriage. And when either person sees the effort of the other, that alone starts to shift things. And so when I early in my practice, I was a director of a clinic. I've mentioned this before. I hadn't graduated yet, and I was starting to direct this clinic, and it was intense. I mean, we're in Las Vegas, and it's heavy, and I'm doing trauma work, and I'm hearing the worst things in the world that I couldn't have even comprehended at the time, and um, I would come home, and I was just like, it was just heavy. I was like, I heard, and my wife, to her credit, she said, like, I love you and you're doing hard work. She's like, I am not built to handle that. She's like, I can I can be here for you. I can love you. I can't hear that stuff. I'm not trained to hear that stuff. And right, so what I'm trying to get to is like I didn't need her to be a co-therapist, right? I didn't need her to like help me process. Like I needed to come home and just know that like, oh, here's my place. And here I can feel loved, I can feel cared for. We are doing something here that's more important than everything out there, which is we got at the time two little kids, we have three now. And I knew like that's everything that I want to be around is my wife and my kids and to feel that they wanted me too, right? So coming home and yeah, she was in the middle of stuff and making dinner and busy and she'd had a day too, but right, for her to take that little bit of time and just come and hug me or give me a kiss, a smile on the face, right? And I would do my same thing. Like, okay, I had a whole day. I'm gonna bring a version of me through the door that I'm excited to be here. Like, this is the best part of my day is to be with you guys. When we feel that from each other, that's how it was typically when people were dating. I'm excited to see you. Yeah, I want to go out. That creates a feeling between us and for whatever reason, couples come to this place where it's like, oh, you again. Like, okay. It's like
Yeah.
you wonder why it's not working very well, right? Like, And so I tell couples often to create, I don't know what you want to call it, a ritual. Like my spouse is coming home or I'm coming home. It's a, a new interaction. What do we want that first 10 seconds to feel like, right? If I think, how do I want my partner to feel, not what do I want to do with them, that feeling can shift pretty instantaneously on both sides. Um, I have a colleague, we co-directed a different clinic together, and he had 8 children. He was a leader of his church outside of our clinic, and it was a heavy load.
Wow.
But their practice as husband and wife was when he'd come home, the kids knew this and everything. Like the first 2 minutes were mom and dad's,
Mm.
and they'd embrace, they'd look in each other's eyes. They might, I love you, I'm glad you're home. But it was like that reconnection moment. And I'm sure he wanted to like go to sleep, right? Or whatever. But that dose of the feminine, it was like, okay, let's make dinner together. And we got 8 kids, so we have the homework and the practices, right? And again, it was typically nighttime before they were alone, but throughout whatever activity, they were still staying connected, even if they were going different directions. It was
Yeah.
like we're a team doing this thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
totally.
I love the point you just made too. I think so many people feel like, oh, to have a great marriage, it's all a time thing, right? We have to
Right.
spend this much time together and things like that. But as we're talking about things, there's nothing more meaningful to a man than feeling desired. And like we said, it's not just sexual. It's, when you get home, your wife giving you a hug and saying, I really missed you, or having that engagement for even just a few minutes. And God, it is amazing just all the people listening out there, especially the wives. Like if you just show your husband that you're interested or engaged and that you desire him and that you missed him and just give that effort, like you'll see a total change in him. I mean, he'll become a new man. He'll become the man that you want to have as a husband.
Poor Nick doesn't leave the house, so he doesn't get that.
That's okay. That's
It's
okay.
like tips for couples
I
that are
bet
together all day long. He's like, why don't you ever just kiss me and act like you miss me? I'm like, you don't leave.
that's true.
You're here. I don't.
Go
That's
We're
true.
somewhere.
bound for like I said.
No, go
Funny.
somewhere. Then maybe I'll miss you. No, I wanted
Well,
to. I think that's like
when-
the whole conversation is good. I want to like not shift it if you have more to say, but to talk
yeah.
about like I think personally from hearing from so many husbands that it's not just this one thing either. It's stop scrolling your phone. And I know that this goes both ways, but as a wife, when you would rather pick scrolling your phone at night than ever connecting with your husband, like phones are damaging marriage. I know we've already done an episode on this, plenty of episodes on this, but it goes hand in hand with what you're trying to say. When a husband wants to feel desired, feel prioritized, feel like his wife still like truly desire loves him, right? You
Right.
can't be addicted to your phone and be getting that dopamine that you need to be getting for your husband. And I know this goes both ways. I'm well, your husband needs to do that too. Like I know, but this is about the wives. So
Mhm.
if the wife's listening and she's like, I do want to be a more intentional, loving wife, I feel like when I am, I get more from him too, because it goes both ways. If you're thinking, I want to be better, just maybe pay attention to that little thing because evenings, no matter what stage of your life you're in, the newborn, the toddlers, maybe you don't have kids, maybe careers have taken over, you've got teenagers, you're up late. Like there is time to spend together if you choose to put your phone down because
Yeah.
phones are taking over the world
Right.
and
Yeah.
taking over marriages. And I have so many husbands coming to us and wives saying, I just feel like my wife loves her phone more than she loves me.
Yeah.
Or the pets,
Yeah.
or the kids, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, right, from our faith tradition, right, marriage is the priority. Our relationship with God is it's not disconnected from our relationship with our spouse, right? So it's not God and our spouse are not competing. It's
Yeah.
mhm.
this is what we're here for is marriage and family. And so if that truly is the priority, we have to make that the priority. And that again, it's not endless time, it's what is the most important thing. It's very easy for women to feel like men's priority is work and men to feel like women's priority is the kids. Those are both things that have to be taken care of because of the union. So I tell couples all the time, like, yeah, you might take into consideration, obviously, like, do you want to have kids? Where do you want to live? Like, but you fall in love because you're attracted to each other. You enjoy conversation. You have fun together. Right? You enjoy let's call it physical affection and their sexual desire. And there's these components of like spirituality for some couples. There's like shared meaning. And then it's like, do you want to do the marriage, kids, right? Shared finances, responsibilities. So often these three things get the focus, and the marriage stuff is
Yeah.
far more exciting than looking at someone's trip across the world. Like you're looking at a screen, or there's a real live human being that loves you available. And I was driving home yesterday, and I'm not a social media person. I don't have a bunch of stuff on my phone, but I was like, I'm driving and I'm going, I think I want to go shoot my phone with a shotgun and my computer and like get off of technology because it's such a distraction, right? Everything on here is trying to pull your attention. And what I think we're trying to do in this podcast is bring your attention back to your spouse, not even to our podcast, to your spouse, to your children, to their needs. And I think the subtle message I hear from a lot of men with like the social media concept is my wife is looking for something better than me. Like I'm not enough. Like I'm bringing me, and she'd rather go see what strangers are, thinking and doing than like hear me. Men do this on the flip side, right? And so I was in my undergraduate when like it was kind of like MySpace was starting to shift, and Facebook was kind of getting taken, kind of becoming the big thing, and Twitter and these different things were coming online, and our whole semester was, what do we think this is going to do to relationships? And we didn't know yet, right? Fast forward a few years, then I'm in my master's program as a therapist, and we're seeing the effects of it, right? Really quickly, the biggest challenge with social media was people connecting to old people from high school that they had old emotions
Oh
with,
yeah.
Yep.
and they hadn't done the struggles of life with. They were just in high school or college, and they were having emotional affairs and sexual affairs and all this stuff. Now you fast forward 15 years, and it's social media, and a lot of things are just big distractions from connection. So I want to, if it's okay, I want to go back for a second. I would say it's really healthy for couples to take some time to cut out all the distractions. Someone commented to me that they see couples on dates where they're both looking at their phones. It's like,
Oh, we see that all the
learn
time.
to re-engage with one another. Learn to create something between you that's more fulfilling than this like quick dopamine rush. It's vulnerable to be intimate with someone on an emotional level, on a sexual level. We're bringing our imperfect selves, and you can reject me. You can say I'm not enough. That's what couples are afraid of. So they go to the distractions, right? Um, I would say for wives, and I want to be mindful that there's a lot of really proactive wives that are very loving to their husbands, and it's not getting their husband to check back in completely. My suggestion there is kind of where I started. Go back to curiosity. Okay. Hey, I want to connect to you. I love you. I believe there's something more for us. What is happening that maybe causes you not to want that, right? A man might say, my work is just really heavy, or I'm just exhausted. Hear that. Okay, how do I help? I can't change his work. I can't change that he's exhausted, but what can I do? And if you keep the curiosity, you can ask him and help him even discover it. He may not know, but he might know. He might say, 2 nights I just need to be able to do my own thing for a minute. That might be the need you're meeting. That's not probably your need, right? You want to connect, in this scenario. But I think that's really important to listen to each other, to create the space for both curiosity and then responsiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And the one other thought I had for wives, And I think this is, as I think back, like, hundreds and hundreds of men, one of the things I hear very often is I just need the message that, like, I'm enough. Like,
Yeah.
however that message comes across, like, am I enough for you? Because men often feel you're enough for me. Like, you're everything I want. And I know we emphasize the sexuality for a lot of men, because that's the place where we can most powerfully feel the feminine.
Hmm.
Clearly not all that we want. We want you. We want you as our other half. And when we feel that you want that back, we will leap tall buildings and we will, right? Like we'll show up in ways that you're seeking. So any thoughts on that?
No, that's
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. And I mean, it sounds pretty simple for the people out there listening, but I really think men, for the most part, are very, very simple. I
Right.
mean,
I think we're so much alike because so many men are just like, I just want my wife to be present. And so many women are just like, I just want my husband to be present because presence entails all of these things, right?
Right.
Like being involved, being caring, putting your phone down, being present. I think that's what we all want, and it can look in different ways. But
Mhm.
I think it's important for wives to realize that husbands are not all the same. Your husband might have different wants or needs. Maybe when he walks in from work, maybe that's not the top thing that he needs, or maybe you getting off his phone is maybe that, or getting off your phone is not the top thing. But like you said, we're all so different. So like that communication, like what do you? I mean, you
Just
guys
like
have love languages too, right? So like, what do you need from me? How can I be a better wife for you? What is the top three things that I could do that would make me a better wife? And just caring and trying to put that effort in. I think just having that conversation means a ton to husbands. He's like, oh my gosh, I love that you want to be a better
well,
wife to me. Like that's huge.
just like our last podcast. It's so simple. Just ask each other, right?
Hmm.
What can I do to be a better wife, or what can I do to be a better husband?
Yeah.
And be open to listening to what your spouse has to say, not getting offended by what they respond with.
Hmm.
Right.
It's amazing. Amy and I, like we've said this before, I mean, we have tons of conversations, but one time I asked her, I said, hey, how would you rate our marriage on a scale of 1 to 10? And I was surprised at her answer. It wasn't that she didn't love me or anything. Um,
Nothing to do with him,
I,
actually.
yeah, it had nothing to do with me, right? It was other things. But just asking your spouse a simple question, I mean, you're going to learn a ton by just having that communication and
Yeah.
talking about it. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
times we assume that, oh, this is what my husband needs or this is what my wife needs. And a lot of the times when we assume, we're going to be wrong.
For sure. For sure.
I would just, the thing that I think is really important for women to know, like truly your femininity, like your sweetness, your softness, your thoughtfulness, your ability to see things about us that we might not see. Like men, oftentimes we're not aware of the good things we bring to the table. A lot of messages around masculinity is we're bad, we're inadequate, we're right, and it's like we're trying constantly to do our best. Most men really are constantly trying to do their best, or they've given their best and it wasn't received, and then you get kind of a man who's kind of giving up, right? He looks depressed, he looks defeated, he looks emasculated, right? It's not because he's just a weak man, it's because he's beat up. He's he's got nothing left because he's not receiving the core thing he needs, which is his spouse. And so for wives, if your marriage is your priority, if you love your husband, creating a pattern where maybe first thing in the morning you're going to God and you're going, and I same thing for men, right? I go to God and I go, how do I show up my best self for my spouse today? Not, 15 hours later. How do I start my day that way? If your spouse is already gone, a quick text is honestly pretty simple. It's easier than a social media post to say, "Hey, I love you. I'm excited for you to come home tonight." Like your
Oh,
husband will float
a man gets
throughout the
that, and
day.
his whole day is just like,
Yeah,
oh, heck, yeah.
right. Yeah. Just thoughtful things. Like I loved how you got down on your knees with our daughter and you told her how sweet she was. Like just be aware of the good of the other and express that. If you do that earlier in the day, the reunion is gonna be totally different.
Yeah.
I'll kind of end with this, and you guys can kind of share your last thoughts. But I did this renewal with a couple, and I was asking the wife kind of core needs, and I use the language of different types of intimacy, and I won't go too deep into that now, but I list like 8 different types of intimacy, and she was getting in tune with her of like what of those spoke to her, and she said, I feel like I want all these with him. And I said, when those are intact for you, what level of effort do you think he would have to put in place? And she was like, he would have to be very thoughtful and mindful of these different needs. And I said, if those are intact for you, what happens? And she's like, I'm on top of the world. And I did this strategically. I said, amazing. I said to him, I said, are those things you're willing to? He wasn't getting them all right. He didn't even know about some of them. And right. And he's like, I can put energy into that. And I said, if he put energy into these 8 areas, do you think his energy into those 8 would meet his needs? And she said, I don't think so.
Hmm.
And I asked her, I said, what do you think he would need kind of equivalent? And it was really beautiful what she said. She said, I also think he just needs the real me present. Okay.
Yep.
It wasn't a doing behavior. It wasn't more sex, better sex. It wasn't more affection. It was, I just want her presence also.
Yep.
And he didn't have all the intimacy needs. He was like, I don't need intellectual intimacy. And he's like, I'm game, like I enjoy them, but he's like, I just need you to see into me and love me. And we've talked about this, into me, see,
Yeah.
right? Taking that time to see who your husband really is. Yes, imperfect. Yes, maybe rough around the edges, whatever. But his heart is all about you. And
Hmm.
his energy is typically all about you. That's why he wants you. It's because you change things for him. And I think when we, man and woman, see that there's something that God allows us to create together that nothing can be created on, on the phones, on the television. Like we really can create ultimate intimacy. Not to be cheesy or whatever, like there's something there available that transcends everything else. So,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
agree.
that's my kind of
Yeah.
last thought on that.
No, I think it's great. I think this is probably one of the best episodes we've done.
Well, I
It's simple, but I think it's something that the both men and women out there need to hear.
it's not overwhelming because it's not a list. It's not like do this better, do this better, do this better. It's literally just be more present and show that little bit of effort. And I, like you said, men are simple. Like they don't like a lot of men think that women have these big lists that they need to tackle on before intimate time. Like you know what I mean? Like women are so much more high maintenance and need all these things to feel loved. Where husbands, I really do feel like they're pretty simple to love. And I think most men have stated that to us. It's like, I just need to feel like I'm loved. I just
Well,
need to feel like I'm prioritized just a little bit in her life. And it's just, it's asking too
well, and
much
it's sad too because most men will try to meet everything on his wife's list
and still not
and
get
still
that.
not be enough. And all husbands like, I just need this, like one thing on my list. And many wives, I shouldn't say most wives, but many wives can't meet that one thing, right? And for most men, it might be a connection through sexual intimacy. And it's sad that again, a husband really a good husband's really trying to meet that list where it's so simple. I mean, we make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah.
Let me just add to that because the goal of most men is not sex. It appears that way. The goal of most men is I want to feel free, and the place I feel the most free is with you,
Yeah.
and it is because of your love. Okay, so when a woman's loving a man in his imperfection, I feel the most free. And when I feel the most free, I want to give you the best thing I know how to give you. I'm already laboring at my work and I'm trying to provide. The best thing I know how to give you is actually all of me, and all of me can make you physically feel really good. That's what a lot of men want is I want you to feel pleasure
Yeah.
above and beyond. Men know women can have multiple orgasms. We cannot, right? And it's like I can make you feel amazing. Like, why would you not want
Yeah,
that,
just
right?
let me.
You make me feel amazing, right?
I meant
And
to
so
walk.
I remember there was a time where, and this isn't a knock on my wife. Like I really was like, I can give 100, and I don't need 100 from you. I need like five, and that's abstract, right?
Oh,
But it was like when I have five, and it's not she's neglecting me all the time. That's all I'm saying. I'm the power of femininity, like the power of your love.
A little
When
bit.
I have that, game on. Like I can conquer the world. When I don't have that, and I have the other five or the other 10, and again, I'm not talking sexuality, I'm talking love, talking thoughtfulness, which can manifest in affection and sex and all that stuff, right? But when I don't have that, I can only go so long before I become a shell of myself. And this is where you see a lot of depression, anxiety, you see a lot of anger, you see a lot of addiction. Again, not a woman's fault. At the same time, her love can prevent against a lot of that. Does that make sense?
I love
Oh,
that you
yeah.
ended with that because it's not all about that to most men. But I don't want to get into a whole nother like deep thing because we're gonna wrap this up right here. But it's complicated, right? Like it's there's just so much deepness to this. But the whole point is like men just want to feel loved. We just want to feel loved. It looks different in different ways. And we always say like it can be a simple text. It can be a hug when he gets home. Like it's just that easy. You can put your kids first the whole rest of the day, but if you can give your spouse that 30 seconds or that 30 minutes at night before you connect and go to bed, just it's not like this huge list for the women. It's really easy to love a husband. So, yeah.
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 I'll end
It
with
really
this
is.
if it's all right. I think my idea of a healthy marriage is like genuinely your best friends. Like you want to spend time together. You want to do all the things together. I know there's people that don't feel that way, but my version is I married the person I wanted to spend the most time with. I like you. I have cool buddies. I like you better. Like,
Yeah.
right? And so feeling that between you of like you're my person. Like I'm excited that I get to spend time with you every day.
Mhm.
And it doesn't, like life happens and you're sometimes, strangers in the night passing by, whatever, but the desire. And this is the real, I think, valuable piece for wives. Even if you can't, for example, be sexual, even if you can't, quote unquote meet the need, if you can say life's happening right now, whatever reason, I'm sick, whatever, like, but I want to be able to connect with you. For most men, that actually meets the need. I know that I'm cared for. I know that I'm valuable. Yeah, we can't be intimate. Okay, but I'm getting that core piece, which is you. You love me, your thoughtfulness. So, there's complexities to repairing. At the same time, it's also not super complex. It's also a
Yeah.
little bit of intention goes a long way. So,
A little
What
bit.
a good episode. I think the audience is absolutely going to love this. And I think it's going to hit home for a lot of people. Like it's just
It's simple.
simple.
It really is simple.
Be
yeah,
more intentional, show love, be kind, desire each other.
I would have to add one thing. I think to wrap it all up is be your husband's cheerleader, whatever that looks like. I
yeah,
think that the husbands
that's
just want
amazing.
their wife to be their biggest cheerleader, like whether that's like that's how it shows love to him, cheerleading about his work, his accomplishments, what he's doing just in life, just being himself. Like just wants that
Yep,
support, right?
yep, great,
That's what they want.
cool.
Cool.
Well, a great episode. Thank you again, Austin, for all you do. We sure appreciate you on every week. And I guess we wrapped it up. But for all of you out there listening, we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Feel free to reach out to us with any comments, any episodes you want to hear us talk with Austin about. And again, we hope all of you find ultimate intimacy in your relationship.